Hi guys, this is Sarah.
And it's Matt, and we're from Faith Homestead, and we're here to talk to you tonight about preparedness and the tough economic times that we've been going through, but also what the projections look like for 2023
Yeah.
and really how to be prepared for some times that might be more difficult than they are right now.
Yeah, I think what we want to, let you guys know is that we're coming to you guys from a standpoint of seeing what has happened, and everybody who's watching this has searched probably for ways to save money or the economy in general. So if you've fallen onto our page right now, you're here for a reason, and it's because you're curious or you're going through hard times. So what we're here to talk to you tonight about is basically how to shop right now. I mean, because you can't just walk into a grocery store right now and buy whatever you want and be like, well, Monday I think I'm feeling steak, Tuesday let's have spaghetti. Like that's not how it is anymore. I'm going to teach you how to follow sales. We want to work on following sales and stockpiling. And a lot of people, when they think of stockpiling, what do they think of?
Doomsday prepping, right?
Doomsday prepping and being crazy prepper people. And I'm here to tell you we're not crazy prepper people. But what I do have is I have at least a year's supply of food at all times, and we rotate through that. So it's basically like a little mini grocery store in our own house. And so what I was thinking about today, I actually am going to talk to you about this in a little bit, but I was shopping the sales today, which and where I live in Pennsylvania, they start on Sunday. And I was thinking to myself, how many people leave work on a Tuesday and think, oh, I'm good, let's make burgers tonight for dinner, and they get all the ingredients to make burgers, and they spend $30 on their meal, and they go home and cook it. And it's almost like not is buying takeout even kind of comparable in these situations. And so what I want to say is that if Matt comes home tomorrow and says, you know what, I would really, really like to have steak on Tuesday, I would say no problem, because and you're going to work up to this. But right now, I could walk into our stock room, and I could open the freezer, and I could grab out three steaks for Tuesday. And I would then walk into my pantry and have all the things to go with it, and then go into my fridge and have potatoes or whatever else we wanted to cook. And so you're going to work up to that. But at first, it's going to be a little painful because the average American only has a week's worth of groceries or less at any given time. Think about it for yourself. How many days worth of food do you have right now if you could not go to the grocery store at all? And you were talking earlier about how, like, in when there's snow, what happens?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially here in Pennsylvania, the forecast for snow starts 3 or 4 days beforehand, and there's the mad rush to the grocery store, especially after 5 o'clock that day when
Yeah.
everyone gets off of work. And we'll see complete fridges full of milk just gone, empty,
Eggs and
shelves
bread.
empty, milk, eggs, bread, every just empty in the store. And it's like we're
Lots of
gonna typically these snowstorms here are maybe 3 inches of snow. They're
yeah.
not going to be locked in their house for a week, but
No.
it seems like nobody has milk, eggs, or bread.
They really want to have a lot of French toast, is what I
Yeah,
think. I don't really know what else it
it
could
never
be.
made sense to me.
But yeah, so basically, how do you, so you're sitting here right now and you're like, okay, great, we want to be prepared. There's some really tough times that are ahead. I actually did a Facebook poll a couple of days ago, and I just asked, and I said, hey, if you wouldn't mind sharing, do you think we're going to be in worse times or better times in 2023? And I asked people to share as much or as little as they wanted, and every single person said that times were going to be worse in 2023. And so, if that small group of people that participated in that poll all agreed that times were going to be worse in 2023, it's coming, guys. And people that prepare like us, we see it, but also experts. I mean, experts in the United States Department of Agriculture, release statistics for 2023, and they're saying that we're going to go up. I think it's what, another 5%, in 2022 for groceries, and that's not even what we're going to feel.
Right.
That's just like what the food
That's the
prices.
food cost
Yeah,
is going to increase 3 to 4%
yeah.
again next year if the trends continue to follow what they have, which really they could be worse than that.
Yeah, they weren't. We read the predictions for last year, and they're way off. Like where we're at right now as a society is way worse than what they thought was going to be the situation for 2022. So we can only imagine that their prediction is probably going to be on the lenient side when really it's going to be like a lot worse.
Well, and I think they also have to worry about panicking people into, you know,
Yeah, I
what
agree.
actually is going to happen,
Of
right?
course. And we're not here to make you panic either, but we're going to give you some, things that you can actually do to prepare now.
And I think that, when we look at those numbers, we looked at the numbers from 21 to 22. I think it
Mm-hmm.
was October.
Yeah, it was October.
It was almost 11. It was 10.9% increase in food costs.
Yeah, that's not what we are seeing at the grocery store. That's just the cost
That's the
of
cost to
food.
get that food to the shelf in the store
Yeah.
is an 11% increase.
Yes.
Right now, that store also has to pay the electric bill and everything else, which is also more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty natural that we see the price increase coming back to us as the end consumer
Yeah.
paying, everybody before that has to stay in business or we can't go buy food there, right?
Yeah.
So we're paying that extra money for them,
Mm-hmm.
that really, that increase that they're feeling.
Absolutely. So you're probably sitting here thinking, okay, like what can I do? Well, this is what you can do. And it's not, let me just preface this by saying I've talked about this before about how my channel, our channel isn't always going to be comfortable. This is going to take work. I was out for 2.5 hours today shopping sales because I need to for our family. And it stinks. That's 2.5 hours away from my family. But you know what? I'm saving hundreds of dollars a month to prepare our family for the storm that's coming. Okay. And even let's just say nothing happens and everything just gets back to pre 2020 and everything is perfect. Well, here's the thing. I'm not wasting any money because I'm still saving money and we rotate. Nothing that we buy is stuff that sits.
Right.
We only buy things that we are going to rotate through and eat. So basically, I shop my home like a grocery store. And so I shop sales. Now, sales where I live, we get circulars once a week, and usually they show up around Wednesday or Thursday, and it'll be the stores around you. So, and if you can't get these, you can always just go into your store at the beginning of the week, and they usually have circulars that you can sit down and go through. So, what is the rule of thumb for saving the most money right now in 2022, moving into 2023, is you only ever shop sales. Period. End of story. There's no flexibility here unless you feel like spending more money. I mean, if you're not hurting in this economy, and I don't even think you'd be watching this video if you weren't hurting at all. But if you have money just to spend, then you go ahead and you do whatever you want to do. But this is for the people that are going to actually want to save money every single week, every single month on their groceries, and be able to prepare for the prices that are going to go up, because the prices are going to go up, and this is what we need to do. So today, ShopRite, which is a store we're in Pennsylvania near us, and they had chicken for, pre-2020 pricing for 99 cents per pound. That's like, I mean, that was really good pricing even in 2020 or 2019. So I bought like 40 pounds of chicken today. That's what I did. And it went right. We have 2 deep freezers, and it went into our deep freezers, and we are good on chicken for about 3 months, 4 months. And then normally sale prices of meat like that, it rotates on an every 3 month basis. So I'll see chicken come around again for that price in probably February or March is probably when I'll see that again. So I normally try to stock up enough to get to that next sale. Another thing that was on sale today was flour, different types of flours, and confectioner sugar and all that stuff. And it was for 99 cents a bag. So for 99 cents for flour, that's an exceptional price. And they're doing that because we're right around the holidays and they're encouraging people to stock up. So I stocked up and I got 9 things of flour. So that's just some ideas of what to do. Now, in the beginning, if you have no stockpile right now, which most people unfortunately don't, you're going to say, but what if I want pork this week? Or what if I want steak this week? Well, you can still buy those things, but to save money and to start doing this the proper way, you just need to start buying and buying on sales for a few weeks. And I would say by week 6, you'll probably have most varieties of the meat that you would want in your freezer. Now, for example, if Matt comes to me tomorrow and tells me he wants lobster for dinner, I'm probably going to laugh and then say, I'm really sorry, but I don't have any frozen lobsters in the freezer because that's not something that we typically eat. And that's also something that is like probably so scarcely on sale that I wouldn't ever be able to stock up on anyway. Now, if you live in an area that is close to the ocean, that's probably something you could get all the time. But seafood around here isn't a super bargain deal ever. So that's the first thing that I would do. That is my biggest money saving tip would be buy meat on sale and freeze. Another way to get meat on sale is through manager specials. And I'm sure everybody knows what that is when you go to your store and you see meat that's reduced because it's going to expire in a day or two. Buy it up. That is a great way to get bulk meat at a sale price. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, and I think that's where we get a large majority of the meat that we eat.
99% of it,
When
I
you
would
said
say.
earlier, if I came home to say I want steak dinner sometime this week,
I could just pull
which
steaks.
that's also, I think, something from a mindset standpoint. We also are prepared in that we, I don't come home and say, I want this for dinner.
No, sorry about our
You know,
dog drinking water in the background. We try, I'm just gonna let you know, we try really hard to keep this as professional as possible, but I can't stop my 65 pound lab from drinking water right now. So yeah, just so you know, go ahead.
but the mindset of, again, I don't come home going, oh, I have like this craving for this, let me eat this.
Yeah,
It's okay, what do we want to eat this week? And we're kind of coming into the week prep knowing,
yeah,
like we always had looked at meal prepping as like something could we do for, cost savings for our family? Can we prep meals throughout the week?
hmm,
And really, we never really did save money meal prepping.
no,
And we spent a lot of time on Sundays
yeah.
trying to prep all these meals.
Yeah, we did. And another thing too is, and I'm gonna burst so many, but I'm just preparing you now. I'm gonna upset a lot of people who are listening to this. Um, meal planning, it's not a money saving situation. And the reason is because when you meal plan, you sit down in your house, you get all cozy, and you're like, what do you want for food this week, honey? And we talk about it. But then you have to go to the store and buy all the things that you've talked about. And sure, if you're on a diet, you come up with like tilapia one week, one day, chicken another day, and you come up with all these wonderful things. But then you go to the store and tilapia is $9.99 per pound. You're like spending like $200 on your week's worth of groceries. It just doesn't work. Okay. And you can have tilapia, but you need to buy tilapia when it's on sale and you have to freeze it and it's not going to be fresh. Sure, if you get fresh tilapia on a manager special, like, and you want to eat it that night when you buy it, that's great. But the things that you are going to buy that you're going to save money for are items that you're going to freeze. So if you have an issue with eating meats that you have to freeze and then thought this is not going to work for you, but if you're in a situation where you're okay with buying meat in bulk and freezing it, then this is going to work perfect for you. It's going to take some time. It's going to take a few weeks, but right now we have about, I would say, 8 months worth of meat in our freezers. And whatever we want, within reason, we don't have lobster in our freezer, but whatever we want to eat this week, I'm just going to go tomorrow. I'm going to like go and I'm going to pull out things for like the first 3 days this week. And then by Wednesday, I'll pull out the rest of the meat for the weekend. And like I just made chicken soup from a whole chicken today, and that was thawing since Friday, so it would be ready for today. So that's just something. And then another thing that I really want to talk about today, and I'm going to have Matt touch on this a little bit, is you have to get out of debt now.
Well, I think before we
Now.
move away from the idea with the meat too, I think it's important to kind of discuss that when we're talking about stockpiling, we're not talking
Yeah.
about just buying every single thing that's on sale at the grocery
Yeah.
store.
No.
It's only putting things into rotation that we are going to use
Only.
on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
So we're not going in and buying, duck because we're not going to eat a lot of duck,
Yeah. We're not. I actually
right?
don't think
Like,
I've ever had duck. Have you?
yes, it's delicious,
I have
but
never had duck. Okay.
it's but that same concept, right? Like we're not going in and just buying things because they're on sale and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, sale, buy this.
Yeah. No.
It's, hey, we'll eat this meat.
Our kids
This
will
is a
eat it
great deal.
too.
Let's get in
Yeah,
on this.
absolutely.
And I think it's the same when we look at the other things that we do, and I think that there's a really big difference between preparedness and prepping. I just, preparedness is just being able to be self-reliant, not always requiring, a trip to the store for
Mm,
every single possible need.
yeah.
Um, whether that is hey, blizzard hit and we're going to be a week without getting to the store, or when the hurricanes hit back in
Mm,
2016,
yeah.
17, and we went 9 days without power.
Yeah, and what we were also good through that time because even when we were living at my brother's property in a carriage house at that time, we still had a deep freezer and we had food. Like I feel like we've been prepping in this capacity for years, years. Like we never run to the store and when there's a call for a blizzard, ever.
Yeah.
We've never done it, and I mean, people get really funny following things on the internet. You're just like, oh man, like people are like, zooming around with their phones, and there's nothing on the shelves, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, man, I'm so glad I'm not in that because that's really nice. And if like, there's been times when we've run out of bread, but you can just bake a loaf of bread. It's really not that hard.
Yeah.
But back to the whole, the debt thing that I was talking about. Hard times are coming. Okay, times are hard now. People are struggling now. I mean, everybody I talk to, I mean, I don't think I've talked to one person that isn't affected in some capacity. And even if you are debt free, even if you have no debt, you are affected by the prices right now because you're spending more. I mean, everybody is just spending more. So whether you have a mountain of debt or you have no debt or you have a little bit of debt, like everybody is struggling.
Mm-hmm.
So my biggest advice besides buying meat and anything on sale and stockpiling and working small, start with 2 weeks. You need to have at least 2 weeks of food and then go to 2 months and then go to 6 months and then move to a year. If you can get to a year's supply of food for your family, obviously, I'm excluding fresh fruits and vegetables, but you could get more into it. I dehydrate. We actually turned off the dehydrator before this video because I'm dehydrating oranges right now I do orange slices in my tea in the winter. It's just lovely, but that's besides the point. But what I'm saying is you can eventually can and do a lot of preserving with fresh vegetables and fruits too. But right now, I mean, sure, go to the store and buy your lettuce and buy your greens and your fruit, but have a bunch of meat and have all of your dry goods prepared. So getting out of debt is really important. That's something we've been working on for a really long time.
And I think both these things that we've discussed so far don't happen with a snap of the fingers.
Absolutely not.
To stockpile or to come up with a good prepared, mindset, it takes time to develop.
Yeah,
And that's,
absolutely. We're still developing it.
so I think it's really unlikely that, when we started out, we didn't go out and buy 2 weeks worth of food to throw into freezers and a closet and say, okay,
No.
now we're prepped. It was each trip we started to add a little bit to what we were already getting
Mm,
in order to have that backup rotation starting. And then as we're going shopping now for things from our pantry that we're taking out, it's okay, we have three of these left. It's time to add that fourth back in. Like took this one
exactly.
out,
Exactly.
right? And
Always
it's,
try to add one more back in.
and
Yes.
that process now is not, okay, hey, we ran out of this. It's, hey, we just took one out from the
Mm-hmm.
pantry. Here's, the add it to that list for the next trip. Same goes with the getting out of debt.
Yes.
Getting out of debt is something that for us took a very long time.
Yeah. And we're still
Um,
not completely out of debt. We're not.
right. We're looking at getting out of debt every day is our main focus, really, is
Mm-hmm.
we're focusing on the student loans that we
Yeah.
have
In our house.
and our house. And we fought an uphill battle to get to this point.
It took us over 10 years to get out of consumer. I mean, obviously our student loans are, I guess, considered consumer debt,
It
but
is.
I don't even count that. It's like a whole nother category for us because it's like we have so much of student loan debt. But our consumer debt, like credit cards, medical bills, cars, all that stuff, like it was a decade of hard work and sacrifice, but we got there.
Yeah, and that's something that, Dave Ramsey was obviously, one of those things that really helped us kind of stay focused, stay
Mm-hmm.
on track, put the, put the work in to get out of that, and having one less stress every month and how many payments need to go out to here, out to there, which ones are clearing at which time, but also just, the hundreds of dollars that aren't going out the door
Yeah,
every single
hundreds
month
of
is a big deal.
that's what we were talking about. Like I can't even imagine having those payments in this economy. It is, I mean, it is such a blessing that we were educated and we learned and we got around the right people and we were told the right things when we were, because it was mounds of debt and we worked really hard to get out of it. And obviously it's all us. Like we did this all on our own, but we had influences that we were very blessed to be around. And
Mm-hmm.
we thank our friends Jen and Mike, who originally brought us to Dave Ramsey over a decade ago. Like if it wasn't for them, we would have never even heard about it. And then our pastor from our church, John Stange, he led a financial peace university at our church a few years ago, which really kind of propelled us into getting over a huge consumer hump of debt, and
Mm-hmm.
we got out of it. But I just wanted to just kind of give you guys an idea of, like, we're not making this up. Like inflation is very real right now. And just for an example, I went and looked at prices from, I went, obviously I've had a lot of children back to back. Our oldest is 5, but we've had 5 kids in,
Three kids.
3 kids in a matter of 5 years, 5 kids. So I did a lot of online delivery when we were, for postpartum, because it's hard to go out with little babies and do all that. So I was looking at our Walmart order from 2020 versus today, just prices on the Walmart app, and potatoes, like a 5 pound bag of potatoes in 2020 was $2.97. It's now $4.93, up $1.96. And this is just 4 things that I compared. Strawberries were $2.18 for a pound of strawberries in 2020. It's now $4.66, up $2.48 in 2 years. Ground turkey was $1.66 per pound in 2020, and now we're at $3.82 a pound. It's up $2.16 a pound. And lastly, everybody can relate to this. I know you all can feel this. You can feel it right across the computer. Butter was $2.58 for a pound in 2020, and now it's $4.48 for an increase of $1.90 per pound. So, guys, imagine all of that if you want to buy that every single week. So if you see butter on sale, for example, buy a bunch, buy enough to get you through 6 months. This is just some of the things that, I think are really important. And then a lot of people, want to know, like, so what are we stockpiling for? You touched on this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for doomsday. It's not for the zombie apocalypse. We're not Mormon. We're
Right.
Christians. Like we're
That
not,
whole idea never made sense. The
no.
idea of, okay, we're going to prep all these things food wise, but if there was some kind of an emergency like that where we would have to leave, we would need a semi truck to get all of our
Yeah.
food and everything to get somewhere else that wasn't in danger.
Yeah.
It just never really made sense to
This
me.
is really just for economic hardship and weather related situations for us, you know. And then how do you
Again, it's
go
that
ahead?
that self-reliance,
Yes,
right?
it is. We don't, yeah,
we
yeah.
we don't necessarily need to run out to the grocery store for anything at any point in time.
Mm-hmm.
It's, okay, we're going to go this weekend, but it's just simply because we have that time available that weekend that we're going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're going to go on Sunday when the kids go down for their nap, and that's like that time is just convenient to do it.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
never you know we're out of sugar, or we're out of this, or we're out
We
of that. I need you
no,
to go do this.
we don't run out
Really,
of
the
stuff at our
only
house.
thing that we really right now ever
Romaine
run into that
lettuce
situation is milk.
and romaine.
Because milk with the three kids, we go through a lot of milk, and
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be buying multiple gallons of milk
At
in
least
a
we
week.
about four we go through right now
And
a week.
so that was something that for me, from a preparedness standpoint, was kind of a challenge, right?
Yeah.
Because we can't really just buy a ton of milk. It doesn't really work.
Yeah.
So that is something that took some adjusting to. Buying 4 gallons of milk for a week, it's
Hmm.
not our usual.
Yeah.
Pre-kids, we went through maybe
I don't drink it, so I don't know.
a
He had
gallon every
it. Yeah,
couple of
we don't really do
weeks.
cereal either. So
Yeah,
it was like, yeah, like I was buying
a
like the
half a
tiny ones
gallon.
because
Yeah,
he would when we lived before kids because we would just go bad. So now it's a totally different ball game,
right.
and yeah, it's crazy. But other things, grocery rotation, it's very simple. I mean, we have a couple shelving systems set up. The things that are oldest get rotated to the front. The things that are new get put in the back. It's very simple. Um, common questions that people ask: do we vacuum seal, use O2 absorbers, oxygen absorbers? So I used to. When I first started prepping, back in like I feel like 2018 probably is when I first started getting into it. I, would read all these things about what I needed to do. And then I realized that this was silly. I was preparing things to be sitting on a shelf for 30 years when I could just be buying things for like 3 months and just like rotating them.
Mm-hmm.
So I still do have some number 10 cans of like 30-year shelf life food. But from a woman's perspective, from a homemaker perspective, it is easier for me just to rotate the things that we use instead of buying all these like, special MRE, 30-year shelf life cans. And I understand the romantical side of it for men who just think it's easy just to get a bunch of cans and just throw them up in, a shelving unit and just have that security for their family. But from a woman's perspective, if you're actually into doing this, you don't need to do that because we can actually just control our household and our pantry. So that's what I do.
Mm-hmm. We
Yeah.
still do vacuum seal wild game.
Okay, yeah.
That's
So
something
meat,
that
we do. Sure. And if I know we're gonna get meat that we're gonna have for like a year in our freezer,
right.
absolutely vacuum seal it. If we have a food saver for that,
Mm-hmm.
that's dedicated. If I like for if I were to get if we were to get like a cow and we were going to share it with another couple families, like it would all be vacuum sealed. Or if he hunts and he gets deer, absolutely, absolutely. But for the general things that you're going to buy at the store, chicken, turkey, pig, you're going to use it within 6 months to a year. It just rotate it.
Right.
It's really just rotate it. It's not that hard. I would say that if you can get a stand-up freezer, they are a lot better and more user friendly than chest freezers. But we have a chest and we have a stand-up. I prefer the stand-up, like hands down, but they're way more expensive. We've got very lucky on the marketplace with ours. So it was like free.
Well, and that's something else to continue to,
Yeah,
in the mindset of preparedness. It is checking the marketplace periodically for
all the
things that are
time.
going to be,
Yeah.
convenient or not necessity, but really essential to helping
Oh, sure.
in that process.
Yeah.
We had looked for a chest or a stand-up freezer for
Years,
years.
years, like 3 years. And we wouldn't settle because we were not about, I mean, like part of working towards our debt-free journey is not acquiring more debt. So unless we had $3,000 to go buy a stand-up freezer,
Right.
we weren't doing it.
Which we were putting those funds towards, things that were more
Yeah.
pressing at
We weren't doing it. So
at times, right? And so it was, and the marketplace can be good for that.
yeah.
You have to obviously be careful with who you're interacting with on there, but it's
Yeah. A quick Google search can let you know what area you're buying from.
yeah, and
I mean,
it
just
really
be
can be
honest. So
a big deal for us. It was a huge deal having the stand up freezer now is something that
it's invaluable.
really does add
And it's comfort and security for me as a mom, as a wife, as a homemaker and the manager of our home. It's I know that I have a year's worth of meat in our freezer, at least 9 months. I haven't like actually figured it out, but it's about 9 months, I would say, to a year. And so that's really comforting. And the stand-up freezer just gives me, I can just visualize it. It's just so much nicer.
Mhm.
But yeah, so we hope that we've helped you guys today. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. Matt or I are happy to answer those for you. And is there anything else you want to add before we go?
I think we about covered it.
All right. Well, I'm Sarah and this is Matt, and we're with Faith Homestead, and we hope you guys have a great night.